Yep, there you go. No sound. Again, something I always forget. Okay, hold on a second. It's too many last minute complications here. Hold on. Just everything changed and nothing's working. That's a problem with live streams. It's you're kind of at the mercy of the platform. If they change something, it's really difficult because you can't really test this. So now I got to put a title on. See the delays because you got to do this at the last minute because it wasn't working. And I had it set up way in advance. Okay, let's see. Okay, I think we got it running here. Okay, so hello YouTube, entire Meyer, Twist Mint, Stream Elements, and Guy, and Android user. Hello Periscope, Kaka, I've 31, Mark Age. Who else? The Mario. Welcome, folks. Okay, let me just monitor it right here on my. Finally, took a while. My gosh, that was difficult. That took 15 minutes to set that up. 15 minutes. Wasn't running for 15. Great gold. Okay, so good evening, Kate. Okay, so that was not it took me 15 minutes to get that going. So tried broadcasting and then nothing was working. So what was that? All I want for Christmas is sound on my live stream. Okay, you got it. Uh, why is that considered? You know what? Did they ban the word Christmas? Is that considered like? Is that a bad thing? All I want for Christmas is sound on my live stream, and that was blocked by YouTube. Oh my gosh, that is funny. No, why don't you tell YouTube to fix their bugs? They have a platform that's much more difficult to uh, much more difficult than it has to be. Okay, you said the volume was low. Okay, got put the mic putting the mic closer here. Maybe you have my laptop, this Star laptop, which has low volume. Maybe you should get a computer that's a stronger stronger volume, stronger audio. Okay, Silly Willy, Mad Cow, I've been here the whole time, steps out from the shadows. Hello, Mad Cow. Okay, so the topic tonight's gonna be interesting and fun. Uh, Before I start with my topic, so anyway, sorry for this is it looks 17 minutes to set it up, and I'm gonna say cut, and then I'll erase this later on. I'm gonna erase the beginning here. Hello, Margie, USMC, Klaus. Okay, so volume is good. Okay, so the reason for my topic, Ebenezer Scrooge in the house. Hello, Angel. Yeah, so we just had a little problem. I tried broadcasting, and I tested and it was working beforehand, and then I tried it today, and it wouldn't start. So YouTube wouldn't start, and I tried over and over, and then tried different combinations, and then it started. Anyway, uh, did you see the warning for YouTube's terms of service changes? No, I did not. What are the change services? Hello, Night Eyes. Uh, so I'm looking at comments here from both Periscope and YouTube, and I know you can't see each other's comments, but hello, look here, you. But I'm seeing all the comments from YouTube and on Periscope, and there's nowadays there's like equal numbers of viewers on each platform, so that's very good. And silently I kind of reached 5,000 or surpassed 5,000 subscribers on YouTube, and it was kind of silent, and there was no announcement. I didn't go do a hurrah video saying I got to 5,000, because who the zuck cares about 5,000? We want 10,000. So are we going to get to 10,000 by the end of the year? At the moment, no. I'll get close though. So maybe if I'm lucky, things work out, then maybe we'll reach 10,000 shortly after. Hello, Starlight. So the reason for my topic is I actually I went to Amazon, the Amazon store. They have a Yo Joe. Uh, I went to the Amazon store, the bookstore. So they have physical bookstores now for Amazon in LA, a lot of them. And so usually I go there to return something. So I'm always returning something. And so I went to the Amazon store to return something. And there are very few books at the Amazon store. In fact, the bulk of the store is full of electronics. So they're selling a lot of electronic products at the Amazon store. And that's what we're going to talk about, because then you should be warned about what they're going to be offering to you this Christmas in this holiday season, and what are you going to find at the store, and what the zuck are they good for, and are they good for you, not good for you? And many of you already know the answer, but we will go talk about that. What is the topic? Isn't the topic on the title? Hello, Joe. How are you, my friend? I saw your broadcast. I always see you when I'm setting up my broadcast. You're always at the top. So I see you, Joe. When I'm broadcasting, you're always at the top there. Of course, I'm setting up the device, so I can't really do anything. You just happen to be there. Some about the broadcast. So good to see you, Joe. Good to see you. Okay, so that's our topic tonight is holiday shopping, and believe it or not, we're already approaching mid-November. Oh my gosh, it's like this is crazy. Don't forget to hit the like, says Entire Meyer. Yes, you should hit the like button, because many of my videos people don't hit like, or people don't subscribe. And just so you understand, you are the homie. You're my homie, Joe. So anyway, you should broadcast live from the store. They'll probably spy on me if I do that, and then do facial recognition. Effective December 10th, terminations by YouTube for service changes. YouTube may terminate your access of Google accounts or whatever. Whatever. Okay, so I went to the Amazon store and I was like, zuck this. You look at all the products in there, and of course they have Amazon Echo. That should be obvious. Amazon Echo, whole big section on Ring. And if you haven't seen the news, of all the Ring hacks that they have already published, not counting the hacks that I can do, that I know I can do, that they don't talk about. So then I saw Facebook Portal. They were selling that at the Amazon store, and I said, zuck. Okay, I'm going to get demonetized again because I said zuck. So, every night I say that, and then I get demonetized for 24 hours, and they figure out the next day I didn't actually say anything against the rules, and then they undo it. But my live streams are always demonetized. So, anyway, instead of buying those products, let me remind you of my products. I have several. By the way, I have Ubuntu phones. And I get a supply every week of Ubuntu phones, and they don't really last. So I get around 4. I get around 4 of these a week, and the ones that came in yesterday, I already sold 2 of those, and last week's already gone, and I think I only have a couple more left of this 32 gigabyte. Nexus 5 with the Ubuntu Touch on it. So this is available sometimes. So you gotta kind of like just catch it. Go to my store, rob.brax.me, and check in there if there's one available. Typically, I receive them at the end of the week. So I got one yesterday, and then put them on sale on the store today, or last night, and then so half of those have been sold already. So I ordered the next batch. I'll get another batch. So if I run out this weekend, I'm sure I'll have another batch next week. So every week I'm trying to get one, so or get several of them, and I found a good source for them, and the quality is very good. So I don't have to worry about giving you bad phones. So they look good. So that means all our YouTube videos in that 24 hours aren't counted to. No, just the live stream, Angel, which is it's not that much. It's like 300-400 views, so that doesn't count for much financially. So couple cents, 20 cents, I don't know. So it's not. Did you see the video with the young kid talking to Alexa? No ET Buck. I don't know which one you're talking about. Maybe I've seen it, maybe not, but I don't know what you're talking about specifically. But yeah. So anyway, again, thank you for supporting my channel. And now we got to trying to remind myself where the camera is, because there's so many cameras in here. There's the camera for normal video recording, and then I have the live stream camera, and it's very confusing. So anyway, so there's the camera right there. So according to Ron Waxman, I shouldn't be looking at the camera. I should just be reading comments and not paying attention to the camera. And he said I shouldn't be looking at you. So I don't know. That's Ron Waxman's way, not my way. Sometimes I want to look at the camera so I can look at you. Okay. So yeah, so that's so if you want to catch one of these Nexus 5s, let me just tell you briefly about what my experience has been on this. And it is these are actually fairly popular. I mean, I must have sold so many of these already, and I can't get enough of them. And I don't have enough money to go buy like a bulk of this and then not sell it. So I only buy a few at a time to make sure that I don't get more than what people want. But let me just discuss my experience with this, because I made a video about Lineage OS. And if you don't know what Lineage OS is on the video, this is a phone. This is a OnePlus One. Let me power it up here. This is a OnePlus One, and this is running Lineage OS. This is not running Ubuntu. Okay, so let's wait for it to boot. Lineage OS is a Android open source project fork. So this is another variation. You can have a Linux phone like Ubuntu Touch, or you can put some version of Android on here. This is not Android from Google, but this is the Android open source project before the Google stuff was placed on it. So if you didn't understand it from the video because you've never heard of this thing, what is interesting about Lineage OS is that when you install Lineage OS, it's actually installed by default without Google Apps. In fact, they don't have the license to distribute Google Apps. So if you want to put Google Apps, Google Play Store, you actually have to do a separate install for that. So by default, it doesn't have it. And surprisingly, that's a very positive thing, because if you don't have Google Apps, then a lot of the spyware and spying and tracking and all the trackers from Google don't exist, because there's no identification here. You haven't put your Google ID. That's one of the worst things you can do on a phone. iPhone or Android phone. What is the first thing that you do when you get the phone? It asks you to log in. If you have your Apple device, your iOS, like this is iOS. If you're running iOS, then the first thing you do is sign into your Apple ID. And to most of you, that's a benign thing. Who cares? We don't have to worry about Apple ID. That doesn't bother us. Okay. Well, I'm telling you right now that once you install your Apple ID on iOS, then they basically know your credit card. They know where you live. And if you're a developer like me, they also know your bank account because you have to accept payments. Then they also know, uh, sometimes in a business case like mine, it's verified. They actually have Dun and Bradstreet verify where you live and everything. And so that's part of what happens when you sign into a phone. So it's a very similar thing with Google. So if I loaded a standard Android on here, let's say this is a standard Android, and then I log into it with my Google email account, the first thing that's going to happen is Google will know, oh, so this device with this serial number belongs to this person with this SIM card, with this IMEI, with this credit card number, that address where he receives the payments at the bank. And now let's see what he does. So we know his exact location. So he or she, this is Google talking now. We know when he turns off the phone, when he turns off the phone. We know when they go to Periscope. We know when they go to whatever app. We know when they go Google search. We know when they're on YouTube. We know everything. I mean, incredible how much information is known just by logging into an Apple iOS or Android phone. It's incredible. And our reaction is, I have nothing to hide. There was actually somebody made a comment to me in one of the videos. And obviously this person is not a subscriber, so I'm not going to, worry about debating him. It doesn't make any difference to me. It's just your typical average sheeple. And this sheep person, it's not a woman, it's a man, but sheep person, this sheep person said, well, I don't do anything bad, so I don't really care if they, know that I have a phone and where I am and what apps I'm running, because I don't know anything. Okay. This is the example of sheeple behavior. I mean, it's just totally losing. This person, like a lot of people that we're dealing with, have no imagination. They have no imagination about how data is used. None. So that they actually have no idea about what can happen when someone has a database of a population, not just one person, but a population of people, where you can say, oh, I know how you vote. I know how you think. I know how rich you are. I know where you live. I know who your friends are. I know what you do for a living. I know how much money you have. I know what you do. I know where you went tonight. I know where you did not go tonight. I know where you go to church. I know where you do not go to church. I mean, it's crazy. And this is the kind of person that enjoys their iOS, and which is many of you, because you're on Periscope, and on Periscope, guaranteed you're on an iOS or Android phone. You have to be on Periscope. So, yes, dirty as you use your Android or iOS device on Periscope. So mostly I use a computer anyway. So, I use a computer 90% of the time now. I'm definitely have cut down my use of a phone. And actually, to be honest with you, I actually only take a Ubuntu Touch phone when I travel. I don't go anywhere with an iPhone anymore. I used to do an iPhone, and I stopped doing that. I travel with this, and it's like, so I went to dinner and had adult beverages as I do, and for a change, Apple does not know what I had for dinner. Apple doesn't know what I drank. Apple does not know that I left the house, because the iPhone never left here. iPhone has been here. Apple doesn't know anything. So there's your so I can't tell you how much enjoyment that brings me. It's like it's like doing this to Apple and Google. Okay? And there's Tony. So it's like fighting back. It's like, the little me fighting back. So it's just little me fighting back, and it feels good. It feels good to have this. And I'll tell you my complaint with this though, because it's not perfect, but it feels good to have this, and it's slow motion nerdy. And it feels good to have this. Now it's not perfect, so some of you will say, "Well, I can't have that. I got to have my fancy phone with the 3 cameras on the back." And I'm going to buy that for Christmas. Okay, well, that's the first product you should think about, people, because I just saw the ad on YouTube from Apple saying privacy iPhone. Zuck! What did I just tell you? What did I just tell you? And I keep forgetting where the camera is. The camera's right here. What did I just tell you? So it's on my YouTube page, my homepage, and I see the ad from Apple saying privacy, period, iPhone. It's like, wow. Where in the heck is the privacy in a sucking iPhone? Where? What did it just tell you about what it knows about me? Crazy. Hello, Johnny boy. So anyway, it's yes, nerdy. So it's pretty scary. Can you imagine Apple using this as a punchline? Privacy Apple iOS iPhone. Sorry, privacy iPhone. Zuck. Okay, demonetized again. So demonetized once again. So just to tell you what the reality is, no. You see, in all of these cases, and this includes Android and iOS, when they say privacy, they mean, this is what they mean, which is totally false. A lot of cybersecurity experts come to me and say, oh yeah, Android has Cell Linux on it and has all this encryption stuff, and Cell Linux came from the CIA or the NSA, I think NSA, and it's going to be locked down. All the rights and everything is locked down on Android. Yeah, right. Okay. So you're telling me that and an iPhone. Oh, iPhone A7 coprocessor, secure enclave, security chip on there, and it's really awesome, with all the security on a sucking Android, because no one can unlock it. Well, that is true. If you drop your phone, Covenant, and leave it somewhere, leave it at a restaurant, which no one ever does, but if you do, and you put your naked pictures on your iOS phone and your Android phone, because you're dumb enough to put naked pictures on your sucking phone, then you are right. iOS and Android will be quite private. No one will be able to see your naked pictures on the iPhone itself. They'll just see it on iCloud. And yes, nobody will see your naked photos on your Android phone. They will see it on Google Cloud and Google Drive. Okay? So there you go. Zuck, privacy, zucking privacy. There's no zucking privacy in Apple and Android. This is the privacy phone, a Linux phone. This is the privacy phone. There's nothing on here. There's nothing on here. Well, the baseband. That can be hacked, but I don't use the phone much. Who cares? Okay? So you understand what I'm saying here, people? You understand what I'm saying here? You're getting mixed messages here because these companies are marketing for the holidays. Marketing terminology that's actually quite false. No, an iPhone is not private. There's nothing private about it. No, an Android is not private either. So now let's get to the question here. So why do I say it's not private? Because they actually break down into two parts. What is called device security, meaning if you go to the border and somebody says, I'm going to put a gun in your head, and if you don't reveal the password, I'm going to get into your phone and open it up. And you say, well, I'm not going to give you the password. Okay, then they can't get in. That's your privacy. But while you think you have privacy on the phone, all of your data is leaking all day. It knows your location, your credit card info, your what places you go to, who you've talked to. Siri listens in. It knows what you clicked on. It knows what text message. Your encrypted text messages are not end-to-end encrypted. Apple can read that. In fact, it sends a copy of it to your Mac, and your Mac has an unencrypted copy of your iMessage. So where's the Zucking encryption? If your Mac can undo it, then it was not encrypted to begin with. So nonsense. Nonsense. It's the kind of nonsense you have to deal with. So anyway, going back to the phone. Oh, and Apple Pay. Another way to control you, Apple Pay. Yes. So going back to the phone. Yes, these phones. You're being faked out if you even remotely think that these phones have any kind of privacy on it. Android and iOS. No, none, zero. So the question is, would you gain something? Well, what does that mean? Gosh, Covenant, what's wrong with you? Okay, so what do you have to gain from rooting your phone and loading Lineage OS? Well, there's one big benefit to rooting your phone, or two benefits if you watch the video. There are two benefits to your phone if you put Lineage OS. Now, why not load Linux? Because Linux cannot be loaded on most phones. You can only load them on a Nexus 5 like this or a OnePlus 1 like this. Okay, otherwise, if you have a different kind of Android phone, then you can't. So the only option for you is to load Lineage OS, which supports most of the devices. So most devices on Android will be supported by Lineage OS. So if you put Lineage OS on your phone, what happens? You have an Android. So if you have an Android, you can decide to not use Google Play Store. You can decide not to load any kind of Google app on it. Do you have that discipline to do it? For the most part, most of you do not, because you're going to run Periscope and you want Google Apps Play Store to run Periscope. You want to, run the YouTube app, even though you can run a web app. So you're not going to give it up. But what I'm just saying, that if you actually have the discipline to run Lineage OS and not load a Google app on it, you will be much safer. All the tracking, not all of it, but a good bulk of the tracking, maybe 90% of it, might disappear just by loading Lineage OS without the Google Play Store. Now, in contrast, this is pretty secure. I mean, most of the tracking here is only on the cell baseband. Okay, but we go. Yeah, you can use Brax on this. I run Brax on this on the Linux phone. There's Brax. Yeah, that's Brax me right there on my Linux phone. Covenant really doesn't get it. Covenant must be new to this channel, doesn't know what we're talking about. It's about zucking privacy, Covenant. You must be lost tonight. You just happen to just see the title and say, okay, I'm going to go to this channel, and you don't actually know this is the privacy channel. We're here to talk about privacy. Okay, so Bruno Ray. Hello, Bruno Ray. So anyway, appreciate the good work you're doing. Those two 5X came in. I wanted Ubuntu, but I guess I'm going to have to toy with Lineage and Maru. Yep. Yeah. So anyway, how much is what? So anyway, this you can find this in my store. The pricing on these, I buy this for around $6 to $8. Then I add $99 to it for the time it takes to install Ubuntu Touch. Now let me just talk about this. Hello, Drunken Monk. Let me talk about some of the issues with this, because yes, it's not perfect, and there's certain things you got to get used to, since it doesn't have all the apps, and there's some tricky behavior, and there's some difficulty. I'll tell you, one of the difficult things was I couldn't run a VPN on the Nexus 5. I could not run a VPN, and the reason was there was a bug on Ubuntu Touch. So because of the bug, I couldn't load a VPN in on it without research, and there's very little instruction on it. Anyway, I figured it out, and it requires doing some Linux command line stuff on the phone, which is very tedious. You know, you have to punch little letters on a little keyboard on a terminal without a keyboard, and so it's kind of difficult. But okay, but I did it, and I loaded and got. You can install a VPN on this now, and I published the instructions on the Bytes VPN page. So that's one problem that I solved, but it's inconvenient since there's a lot of steps to it. It would take you a while, maybe an hour, because you have to do it kind of in slow motion. It may take you an hour to set up the VPN. I think I got it down to like 15 minutes, but it's still tedious because you're typing a lot of long commands very, very slowly. Okay, the next issue, and this is the probably the major problem with these phones, is there are bugs on here that nobody is able to fix, and for some of you that's a deal killer, and so you're not going to want these if you're dependent on these features. If you're dependent on these features, then you're going to have to go with Lineage OS. But you see, what's nice about the Ubuntu Touch is that it has a zucking free cloud music app. Free, people. I can play any song free, and I can download it on my phone and listen to it without internet. I mean, that's a killer app for us. You know, as a musician, that's a killer app for me. So this is the only one where I can do it for free. I don't have to sign up to Apple Music or Spotify or whatever. It's free, and it comes with this, and I love it. It's like, you know, number one feature for me here. This is why I don't want Lineage OS, because I don't have an equivalent. Lineage OS doesn't have the free music. Okay, it's called Cloud Music on this. It's only on Ubuntu Touch. It's Cloud Music, and that's number one. The problem with the phone is Bluetooth for voice. So if you're in your car, you know, in California, you can't drive and use the phone. I mean, you're going to get a ticket for that. And you can't do Bluetooth with this on the car. It's buggy. It barely works. You can hardly hear. It disconnects. So it's very, very unreliable. And no one knows what the fix is. And apparently the bug's been around for a while. So there's some driver problem with the Bluetooth on this device, and that's a pain. The Bluetooth actually works for the music. It just doesn't work for the voice. So that's probably the number one problem with this phone. Other than that, I don't really need to use too many things on it. Maybe my personal, quibble with it is lack of a Kindle app. You can use speakerphone. You are bypassing the Swedish Spotify. I am. Okay, so the person who wrote the app, I think, must be from Spain because it's a Spanish name. So a lot of Europeans make the software for this because they want to work for Google. Camera works fine. Yeah, camera works fine. Yeah, on these. Yeah, on these the camera works fine. Yeah, so that's my only phone works fine too. The only problem really is just the lack of car Bluetooth. That's it. So if you don't want it, because I'm sure I'm going to lose some of you. Some of you are not going to want it just because it has no cloud Bluetooth. In which case you can use Lineage OS, and if you want me to install Lineage OS on the phone, I can do that too. Okay, but I don't know any good apps that are equivalent to this. I mean, the music app is really good. Okay, these issues with Google reporting location via GPS. Does micro G mitigate this? What is micro G? Is that another AOSP? Just in general, if your Android, if your routing, if your custom ROM is from Android AOSP, then obviously it will have the same characteristics as what I just said on the video. So what is the advantage of Google? Lineage OS, which is a Android open source project operating system. The advantage is you will have the option of not loading Google apps. If you have that discipline, it will be good, similar, but not quite as good as this, as the Linux phone. I mean, because you're still using some sort of Android app, there could be still some sort of telemetry with it. But this is much better. Here, there's no telemetry. Okay. Okay. So, why are you sitting at my piano? Yeah. You use your regular phone carrier? Yes, I use. Yeah, you check the model of the phone. This is a Nexus 5, so it should be compatible with everything. What apps can you use on the phone and still have privacy? Nothing from Google Play Store. Nothing. You want privacy, you do not use the Google Play Store at all. You use, F-Droid. There's a F-Droid website. You can get some apps there. And nothing, no Google app, anything. No Waze, no Google Maps, none of that. Can you handle that? This is why I prefer using the Linux one, because there's actually some apps here that are useful already. There's a navigation app. There's some web apps you can use already, and there's cloud music. And in most cases, that's enough for me. There's YouTube here, a web app. There's a Twitter web app that I already loaded. There's even Google Mail, web app. Web apps are actually safer. Web apps are safer. They're not like real apps. They don't have telemetry. Let me talk to you about telemetry, because that's something in my video, and a lot of people may not understand what that means. When you have an Android phone or Apple phone, it doesn't matter, but talking specifically about, because you don't have a choice. Your iOS phone is zocked. You have an iOS phone, it's zocked, period. Privacy, zock that. There is no privacy whatsoever. There's nothing you can do to fix your iOS phone. There's no rooting or anything. There's no solution. If you have an iOS phone, you are zocked. The tracking is nonstop, and that's it. End story. Now, if you have an Android, you have a little bit of a choice, because you can remove Android on it and load a custom ROM like Lineage OS and decide not to use Google Apps. If you can do that, if you have the discipline to not do it. And that means you're going to limit what apps you're going to load, and the apps are not going to come from Google. They're going to come from elsewhere. They're going to be mostly open source apps. They may not be that good. Some of them may be okay. So will they see it when I run it over? Yes, Nerdy Gal, turn off the power before you run it over. Okay, so the idea of the telemetry is just, I want to make sure you understand this, because this is true of both iOS and Android, by the way. When an app is made for the app stores of Google and Apple, so let's say you write a program to display a picture, let's say it's an anatomy program, and it shows a picture of the human body, and you can click on it, and there are body parts, and it explains all the different anatomical names of all the body parts, okay? All the organs and so on. Now, if that's your app, and you think that's the only thing that the app does, no, okay? That app isn't going to do just that. So you put that app in, and Apple and Google will layer their own application space with the app. So if this is the main app with the anatomy, Google and Apple will append their own stuff to it, and that will be packaged into what is actually installed on your computer. Now, what exactly is in the package from Apple and Google? Well, some of them you think is very important. Notifications. So the notification, hello, Mecca's Queen from New Jersey. So, from the packaging of the notification. So in order for notifications to happen, the app has to go through a different channel and a piece of code makes a connection that's constant between the phone and the Apple servers. This connection is always on, and it's always polling the notification server every few seconds in order for it to come back and say, "Yep, I got a notification for you." So your phone is never quiet. So your phone, is actually always, connecting to. It's always phoning home. iPhone phones home, just like ET. So this phone is always phoning home every few seconds to report that yes, you're going to get notifications, and if there's a notification, it will pull it from Apple and then pop it on your device over here. Okay, so that's always on. So in order for it to be always on, there's always a connection. It knows your IP address. It knows your location. Now, location's a little separate. The location's a little separate. Well, your Android is worse. Location's separate thing because it's a separate thing because the location actually works by this constant scanning of networks, which I mentioned in my video. It scans the networks constantly, looking for routers around, Wi-Fi routers around you, and every router that it finds, it reports the GPS position that where you're at the moment, plus the signal strength, and then that's sent to Apple and Google, and that's how they make the database for Wi-Fi triangulation. Because your device is sending that data constantly, those are that in the notification connection and the location means that they always know where you are without permission. They don't need your permission. This goes on and on and on. Anytime you have the phone, it knows where you are. It knows if you're using it, not using it. It knows your exact location. You can't turn that thing off because there's no switch for it. Okay, there's no switch for it because it's based on something that's on the chip itself. It's called promiscuous mode, which is built into the Wi-Fi, and there's no switch for it. So because there's no switch, this device is always constantly leaking that out. Now, what other thing is leaking out from the phone? Well, you got your data on is the phone in use? What motion detectors, sensors, all the sensors in here are actually constantly sending data. Is the phone moving? What about? And we're not even talking about the cell signal because that's a different signal, and that's already being tracked by the cell carrier. So all of that is going on, including what apps you're using, how long you've used it, was there any crash on the apps? It knows exactly what app you're using. If you're running obviously Google search or any of that, then they also know that activity, and it's attached to your Google ID because you don't have a choice on these phones. They always force you to put your Google ID on, and you can't remove it. So if you're going to install an app, it always knows your Google ID. Or your Apple ID. So you're forced now to always be identified with an email with likely your real name on it, with your address, with your credit card number, which has your real name, and attach that to all of your movements and everything that's done that you do throughout the day. It's very disgusting to me that you have no way to turn this off. There's just no way. No way. So if you have an Android and Apple, there's no way. So some of you are saying, "What do you mean? I like my Apple." Well, you can't turn it off. So just in contrast, nothing. This doesn't have network scanning. This does not have any kind of notification connection with Google or Apple. There's no connection there. There's no app telemetry. There is nothing. The only apps I have here are the ones that I turn on. As long as I don't run I can run a Google app, in which case there will be telemetry on web app, which is limited, mostly just location and IP address, and I can solve that by stopping location and by using a VPN. Other than that, there's nothing else it can do. So if I know how to protect IP address and location, then this device can't really track anything. I mean, and yet it has a browser. I can go to the websites. I can go Google, search DuckDuckGo, not Google. I can DuckDuckGo search, topics for a conversation. And the only negative is I don't have Bluetooth for the car. But other than that, if I need something special, I'll bring my iPhone. But for normal use, if I'm going to do a long traveling thing and I'm going to go take a long drive to a different state, yeah, okay, I'll bring something I can use Waze on. But for everyday use, I'm quite fine with this, and this actually works, and I'm not tracked, and it's really pretty cool. So anyway, Now you got the positive and negatives of this one, and obviously it's an older phone, so it's not the fastest. That's another negative. But Zoc, who cares? I'm not tracked. I am not tracked. That's good enough for me. Okay, so I'm very pleased. I haven't changed my habit. I'm still only walking out the house with a Ubuntu touch phone. That's the only device I walk out of the house with. So I'm very happy that I'm able to do that. Okay, so hopefully you got a little bit of background on. So that's one of the first products you got to think about for the holidays. Are you looking for a new phone? I'm going to say, maybe you save your money and not buy that new phone that cost $1,300 like an iPhone. Maybe you buy one of these for cheap. And like I said, I can pre-install the Ubuntu Touch for you. Promiscuous Wi-Fi does not. There's no network scanning. Network scanning does not exist on Linux. No, there's no network scanning. They can still triangulate you with location, so you have to turn it off. It can still do that. It can do Wi-Fi triangulation, but you turn it off. So at least there's no permissionless location. That's really what the issue is. Permissionless location tracking does not exist on a Linux Ubuntu Touch phone. There is no permissionless access to your location. There is access if you give it. Like if you're going to use the navigation app, yeah, you have to use location. But at least you're making that decision, and it's not permission. There's no permissionless access. Okay, so save your money instead of buying all fancy expensive phone. People were pulling out their iPhone 11 Pros, and I was like, zuck that. I wasn't impressed. I always buy the newest phones, and so this is the last iPhone I bought, and it's an iPhone 10, and I don't really care that somebody has a new phone. Who cares? I actually felt kind of cool when I pull up because they don't know why I have an old phone. They have no idea, and it's like I said, you're all zuck. You don't even know why I'm doing it. So anyway, that's about phones for the holidays. So rethink your decisions on phones. Maybe buy a computer and use a computer at home, and rely on the phone less. The phones are evil devices. They didn't start off that way, but they are now. So let's talk now about what I saw at the Amazon store, which was incredible. Okay, so one of the first things I saw was Portal. Do you guys know what Portal is? What this product called Portal is? It was released last Christmas, and I don't know if anyone bought it. Do you know what Portal is? When am I getting a Librem 5? Who knows? Sometime in, I don't know, mid 2020? That's why I'm going to have to use a Ubuntu Touch for a while. I don't have a Librem 5 phone. What did you tell us about using VPN with that phone? What did you tell us? I told you that the VPN on this phone was initially hard to set up, and then I wrote the instructions for it. So I got it figured out. But it's not like plug and play. I mean, there's a few steps. So there's a one-time process that's going to take you perhaps an hour to set up. But then after that, it's done. Okay, do you know your bids as programming means you have to buy newest phones? Yeah, I know, Angel, but I can keep them at home. So hello, pizza loving nerd. So pizza loving nerd is young. How old are you, pizza loving nerd? Are you even 16, 15? What? Pizza loving nerd is very young techie. Proud of him. It's like techie at such a young age. He's already talking about wanting a pine phone at a very young age. Anyway, Portal is Amazon's Google Hub? No, Portal is Zucking Zuckbook. Portal is Zuckbook. 14. So Pizza Loving Nerd is 14, is already very, very techy. Portal. Okay. If there's any device that I don't think I have to tell people not to get, I think it's Portal. So let me just tell you the stupidity of this Zucking product. Okay? Seriously. I mean, you must be the sheeple of all the sheeple to actually get a Zucking Portal. So what is Portal? So Portal has Amazon Echo built in, so that's why Amazon's selling it. Portal is a device with Amazon Echo built in video. So it's Amazon Echo with video, and it's called Portal. Okay, so if you have a conversation with somebody else using Amazon Echo, you can have that conversation with video. Okay, so that's what the claim to fame is, a Portal. So it has video. So you put this in your kitchen or wherever you want to put this in, and it has video. So now, not only does Amazon listen to you, while Amazon is listening to you recording your voice messages, Facebook is capturing those exact voice messages and also capturing the video. And doing facial recognition to anyone in the house. It actually has that technology where it can spot you moving in the room. The camera follows you. It has motion detecting technology to actually point the camera at where the motion is. Okay, so which means if you point the Portal in a certain direction, and you know how the Amazon Echo works, it's always on, always listening to you, always recording your conversations. And hello, super fame username. Hello, GJ Dog. So, well, it's actually Portal is Zuck. So you're being zucked twice. So you're being zucked by the Amazon Echo listening to your voice, and now the video, which follows you. So now, can you imagine having a Portal at home and you come out of the bathroom and say, "Oh, I forgot the soap." So you run out of the bathroom to go get the soap, which was in the pantry, and you go, "Hello, Tinkerballs," and you go into, and you happen to pass by Portal. Portal will follow you. The video follows you. The camera follows you. So you come out, it hears sound coming out from the bathroom direction. Poop. Point the camera to you. And I mean, the stupidity of this, I don't know. I mean, I don't know of anything more stupid than this. Okay? Do you know anything more stupid than this? I don't know. I don't think I have to tell you not to buy a Portal. I don't think, I don't think this is, I mean, you have to be really stupid to be buying a Portal. Okay, anybody have a Portal? I just said you're going to be stupid. I doubt if anyone here has a Portal. If you admit to have, if you have a Portal and you don't want to admit that you have a Portal, maybe you want to dump it. Can those home smart fingerprint locks be hacked? Good way to monitor a dog misbehaving when you're not at home. Something more stupid will be invented. So anyway, that's Portal. I mean, Amazon Echo is, it's such a bestseller. The number of people using Amazon Echo as a percentage of a household. How many people use some sort of voice device in their house? I mean, I'm sure I'm in the minority, but it must be over 50% now. Can you imagine going to somebody's house and you don't even know that they have Amazon Echo on there? And so you don't know that. So you don't have Amazon Echo at home because you're worried about your privacy. And you go around and you visit other people's homes And how do you know they don't have Amazon Echo on there? And by the way, Amazon Echo has voice recognition, voice printing. So then they will recognize your voice and say, oh, you're not at home. You're visiting your friend X. So, and your Y, oh, Y is visiting X. And then you go to somebody else's house with Echo. Oh, I see. This is also one of your friends. So now they know that all your friends that X, Y, and Z are all connected from voice printing, and they know all your relatives and all that. And then Facebook on top of that does something that I told you about in the video. It's called the MAC address tracking, and so they actually find out which devices are in the household in the same router LAN, and then they track you by detecting the MAC address of your phones. One of the things that your phone does that you can't stop is all these phones are emitting a MAC address. And if you're running a Facebook app on this, that is reporting all of that to Zoc. Okay, Siri. Doug, come on, don't demonetize me. So anyway, so you can see that last year at Christmas exchange gift I won. I got us a gift. The gift I won was an Amazon Echo. And fortunately, somebody took it off my hands because I got some dinner at a restaurant instead, and dumped the Amazon Echo, which was a piece of garbage thing that I would have used for target practice because it's a nice target size thing. So yeah. So I definitely don't need any ducking Amazon Echo. Now, many of you talk about the next product here, and many of you may not know this, but the product called Ring is actually owned by Amazon. The Ring doorbell, that is owned by Amazon. How many Nexus 5s? 32 do I have left? I think I have 2 left. I have 2 left. I think. There's somebody who had difficulty ordering, and so I'm reserving one for that person. That gives me let's see. No, I may have. Yeah, 2 left. Okay. Between 2 and 3, and then I'll have 4 more. 4 more a week from now. I'm trying to get them at like 4 a week. I don't want to start like a run on them. I don't want to buy them at 100 of them and upset the pricing. I'm buying them slowly so I don't affect the pricing. That's so scary that no one early before that law enforcement would use Alexa recording to prosecute. I am that person. Flappy Nuts, you are that person I'm reserving the phone for? Okay, so I'm holding that phone for you then. Okay, but I got the new shipment, like I said, and when you get your PayPal running, then because just I know who it is on the chat message with the chat. So that person I'm holding one phone for, and then I have 2 more after that. I've sold everything else already. So I mean, the moment it arrived, somebody already ordered. So I'm thinking a month, and I'll be asking you. Okay, well, Dirty, it doesn't matter. If you give me an advance warning, I can buy extra phones. So if you're I don't want 1+1s. They're too expensive. 1+1s are, you can't get one. I bought this 1+1 for $60, and I can't find one for $60 anymore. They're like 90 some bucks, and I'm like, fuck that. I'm not gonna pay 90 some bucks for this. When you paid something for $60, I don't know if you want to pay 90 some bucks for it. So I'm not gonna create any demand for it because somebody's creating demand for it. So I'm gonna stay away from that for a while. I actually like the Nexus 5. So I like it. It's nice size and does the job. So the OnePlus One has a better camera, but the cameras are acceptable in both. Okay, so just warn me if you warn me like you say, okay, I'm gonna get one in a week, then I can make sure I get enough to to account for that. Otherwise, I'm only buying like 4 a week. Kind of expensive to keep buying these. So yeah, I don't have a problem with an Nexus 5. So let me see uh, hurts what hurts me about the Nexus 5 is the lack of SD card slots and battery replacements. Uh, I know, but the parts are actually pretty cheap, and it's actually apparently quite easy to open. It's the plastic thing just peels off on the top. So I haven't actually opened it, but I've seen it like partially there. I'm already taking it off right now just with my fingers. So I actually found a supplier of Nexus 5s that must have been made for the Spanish speaking market, because there's a ton of them that I found for the Spanish speaking market. So they come to me with Spanish language settings, and I just reconfigure. I'm gonna erase it anyways. It doesn't matter. So Yo Joe, hello Yo Joe. So so um, so anyway, I'm this is not this could be your travel phone and not necessarily your primary thing that you'd use. You can still, if you don't want to be tracked, what you can do is bring your iPhone or whatever and just power it off and leave it in reserve. If you really need it, then at least you have it close by. But if you don't need it, then why be tracked? Use this when you're not being tracked. I mean, they're small devices. You can put a couple of them in your pocket. So yes, it's not the complete thing, but for what I need it for, it's fine. Careful, the bottom is glued with double-sided tape. It is? Okay, so I was able to actually peel off the cover. I've never opened this, but I was able to peel it off just by hand. So it looks like it's very easy to replace things on it compared to an iPhone. iPhone is terrible, and I've replaced many parts on an iPhone. By the way, on an iPhone, there are many parts on an iPhone, including the screen, that you can't replace anymore. So this is an iPhone 10, right? I paid $1,300 for this at the time. Okay, so this iPhone 10, if you break the back, the only one that can replace it is Apple, and that will cost you around $530 or $550 to replace the back on an iPhone. To replace the screen is like $230. Well, the phone itself, you can buy. You can buy a used one for about $650. So basically, suggesting that if you break this glass, it's glass. If you break the glass, just throw it away and get a new one because it's kind of pointless. This is a non-repairable phone, basically. This is how stupid this is. We're buying these expensive devices. This is the price of a sucking more than a computer. My computer, which is a very fast laptop that I have in the video, cost me $800. $800 for this fast computer that I'm broadcasting on, running Linux right now. This phone cost me $1,300. And then it spies on me on top of it. Switch people. I think it's time to switch back to computers. I really do. I think I know Starlight Karaoke there is big on using the mobile. I think we need to rethink that. Yeah, because insurance sends you a refurbished phone. Yeah, I mean, basically, and then you have to pay for the insurance. Come on. Paranoia is the next nexus of surveillance. Nothing to hide, nothing to lose. Uh, are you saying that as are you saying that as a supporter of privacy, or are you actually saying that we people and privacy are are that they're going to use paranoia as a statement, because they do that one of the ways to make us look bad and make us forget about privacy is by saying that we're tinfoil hat people. Okay, why is why is not wanting your phone to track everything you do a tinfoil hat topic? Why? Why does it need to know what church I belong to? Why does it need to know what my religion is? Why does it know what kind of food I like? Why does it need to know if I'm going to the doctor? Why does it need to know if I'm going to a particular kind of doctor? Let's say I'm going to the AIDS doctor. Why does it need to know that? Let's say I'm going to the cancer doctor, the oncologist. Why does it need to know that? Let's say I want to go to a strip club. Why does it need to know that? And you say, well, I don't do that. Who cares? It doesn't matter what I'm saying. Let's say you want to go to a protest. Why does it need to know that? Okay, and some of you say, well, I don't do any of that. Well, if you're a conformist, that's your defense. My defense is I'll just be a conformist all my life. I will never have an opinion that's out of the mainstream, because I'll be labeled tinfoil hat. And the way to do that is by using the phone, and I'll behave as the phone expects me to behave, then there will be no issue. Yeah, right. That's the first way to control your vote. So that's the first way to manipulate us. And by the way, I do not like politics. I think both sides of the political ranks there are disingenuous with their approach to some of these issues, especially related to privacy, and it bugs me. So, if you're really like tight on one party, then I'm not that. That's not me. If you're a conformist, why does the phone need to know that? No. If you have a phone, you have to be a conformist. Oh, they forgot about the Cambridge Analytica already. I mean, I was talking about the Cambridge Analytica and how they did that before the Zucking election. And well, at the time, I was actually pretty popular on Periscope, and I got a lot of views, and people were hearing me say that. And then now it died down, and it's like we no longer care about Cambridge Analytica because we have nothing to zucking hide. So I am not a tinfoil hat guy. I have very basic needs when it comes to devices and what I expect from society, and that is that freedom. But not freedom as defined by Democrats or Republicans. Freedom as I define it is be consistent. Just leave me the zuck alone. In a consistent way, not saying I'm going to give freedom to you, with your money, but then I'm going to go surveil you every moment, or I'm going to be giving you freedom with your choices, either from sexuality or religion or whatever. But I'm going to dictate every move you make with a whole set of rules, because I want to control your life and say what you're going to eat and what you're going to do. So, this inconsistency bugs me. Sorry, that's not me. My thing is the reason for privacy is freedom, and freedom means I get to choose. You don't get to tell me, and you don't get to impact on me with your inconsistent views on each party. Both parties are very inconsistent. So I just want freedom. That's all. You either have unlimited freedom or you don't. Alternative politics exists for a reason. Well, what did I miss? If you're iPhone or spy phone, if you want to go to the bathroom, why does it need to know that? It needs to know that because it counts. Maybe they'll sell you some products for I hate to have to refer to your cancer, your depression, Zuck. Oh my gosh, Angel, yeah. When they're popping ads about a specific disease, oh my gosh, that is that is very. Oh my gosh, I don't even know what to say about that. And that's it's getting there because they're going to use it for insurance tracking and so on. They're going to say, well, we already know, you know, that we're not going to hire you because records show that you have some disease. Uh, we're gonna, we're gonna increase your insurance rate because you've been doing searches on such activity, and I think that's because you must have a risk factor in there. No, we'll go to 23andMe and get your DNA and figure out what your disease is. This is the kind of stuff you just don't understand because you don't have any idea what you can do with data. If you don't know what you can do with data, you actually don't understand what I'm saying. What is my special insight into this? Some of you don't understand my background, so I'll tell you a little bit about my background. I'm one of the inventors of electronic health records. I'm one of the first few people that invented it, and being a leader in the field, I had known in advance about what we would do when we collected medical records. And once you've actually looked at the database of medical records, you can actually see how personal it is in a medical database. Especially things like it's called social history, like is there a gun in the house? Who stays at home during the day? Oh, some of these little personal details, your sexual behavior, your drug use, all of that is part of social history kept in a medical database. Not counting all the diagnostic and all the information, including potentially your DNA, all kept in the database. So when you start to think about all that and you say, wow, I mean, that's a lot of personal information there that can be used for good if you do something called outcomes analysis. This is a term, if you're in the medical field, and you'd hear about this term called outcome analysis, where you go in and examine the data and see what we can do to prevent large expenses by looking at what triggers that and if there's a way to prevent that. So now you go into the database and you search for all this. Well, now the social database of our behaviors is much bigger now than even that medical database. But I've been exposed to it for so long that I know what I can search in there, and I had access to millions of people's records of medical data, and even the most personal thing would be on there. They know everything is all connected, and some of us know by every. There you go, nerdy gal. So if you understand what my background is in studying these databases, then you understand that I look at every big database with a bit of caution, and I'm looking at the database and say, what could you possibly do with that data? I mean, talking about outcomes analysis from a medical point of view, is there something I can do with that data to manipulate people? I need to help. My phone is tapped. Not joking. What should I do? My phone is tapped. Then get rid of your phone. Get a different phone, for goodness sakes. Sell it. Get a different one. How hard is that? If you sell your phone and get a new one, you could probably sell it on one of these internet things for not much for more than what you paid for it. Get a different phone. Pass the problem to somebody else. Then change your behavior. Let's talk about that tomorrow. How do you change your behavior? Can you send me your phone? No. I don't need your problem. We don't even know our medical histories, but they do. Well, what's the name of that company? Palantir knows. Palantir knows your medical history combined with your patterns of driving around the city and your social media activities. This is your second phone? Then get another phone and get to your third phone and dump the first two. Come on, man. You have to be proactive in solving your own issues here. No one's going to solve it for you. Here, get one of these. Get one of these. Linux phone. And stop using all those apps and start fresh. We're going to talk about that tomorrow because let me just tell you something that triggered this thought to me. One of you went to my store and bought everything, all of my products. So, no, I don't know who Diacom is, no. One of you actually went to my store and bought all my products. This is a Brax Wi-Fi, which is a VPN and Tor router that you can use so that all your devices can be on a VPN when in your house. This is an alarm, which I will plug in here, and you hear the buzz. And this alarm is radar, and it can actually alert you to anyone approaching a certain area, like a house area, a room, and it will send an alert if that occurs. And then I have, of course, these phones that I've installed. I have a VPN, and this one guy bought all of that because he was like probably rethinking his entire life in his situation and saying, you know, let me start clean and want to make sure that everything is on a VPN and just let me just disappear from the grid. And that requires so much thought. And I think that we need to actually think about, you know, what does it take to make that decision to say, yep, I'm going to disappear from the grid. I made this decision many, many years ago now when I left Facebook. So I left Facebook in at the beginning of 2013, so late 2012. And I left Facebook, and that was the time I started making all these products, and I started to get to become aware of what was happening, and then, as you know, I started broadcasting on Periscope in 2014 or mid 2014. So then that's when I started to profess now this what I'm seeing, and that took, you know, all those years for me to find out what's happening and research and see what's going on and how times have changed, primarily because of Facebook and Google, and now, you know, and Apple now, and everything has changed so much that we are actually not aware anymore of how to protect against this because we still think we're tracked by old means and we actually are not. Okay, so things that you think, you know, if you don't know about what Wi-Fi triangulation is, if you don't know the backdoors to your phone with the cell baseband, if you don't know all the trackers and telemetry that Google does on this and Apple, if you don't know about all that and you really have no awareness of what's going on, if you don't know what a VPN is, if you don't know what Tor is, these are things that, you know, that we need to all learn about and see how do we change our behaviors. If you don't know what pseudo-anonymity is, if you don't know what it's like to what you should be putting on email, what you should be using on email, if you don't know what name you should use on social media versus your work, if you don't know any of this, then you have a lot to learn, and this is the kind of thinking that we need to put in the long term, and maybe start the year off fresh in 2020 and say, in 2020, I'm gonna disappear from the grid. And by disappearing from the grid, I don't mean that you leave the internet. I didn't leave the internet. I'm still here, but I changed everything that I did. And unfortunately, I go so far back now that I actually did a search on my own location data that's being sold. You know, they sell this location data on each and every one of us. And happy to say that their location data on me is wrong. Wrong. and I am just stoked because it means that my precautions about using VPNs and using Tor and all that paid off. It worked. How can we control the rage when family shuns us and tells us not to be crazy with this? Oh, dirty gal, I get it all the time, but they're finally, I think they're seeing my YouTube channel grow, and I'm not talking about it anymore. And then they're seeing my YouTube channel grow, and said, maybe this isn't such a weird idea after all. I actually, my brother admitted he was watching my videos, which is like, okay. So my young nieces, no. The millennials, no, they're not. So yeah, we're slaves right now, nerdy gal, and that's I want to talk to you about how to prepare for all this, how to think about it, how to and I'm trying to make these products because I'm aware of selecting the wrong product in your life creates a problem. For example, do you have any one of these Google Home IoT devices? Zuck. Do you have any of this Amazon Echo IoT devices aside from Amazon Echo itself? Zuck. Do you have Ring and Ring related devices? You do know that the videos on Ring are shared with the police and Palantir and all these third-party entities are watching the videos. So when I jog, I don't jog, but if I were jogging in the street, that all of the Ring cameras would capture me and do facial recognition and store in the database and say, "Yep, you jog at this particular hour, and we know because we did facial recognition." I mean, this is like crazy, guys. So do we not care? I want to be a blue belt in internet privacy. So, well, I'm a black belt, mad cow, and it's pretty hard. Ring sounds like the horror movie. I've been too poor for this stuff. So anyway, this is one of my products, and this is a radar alarm, and instead of Ring, this one is done by radar. So I'm going to stop moving in that green light. If I don't move, the green light stops. It's sensing motion right now. So when it doesn't sense motion, it will blink out. Okay. Unfortunately, green reacts at a green screen. Okay, now I'm going to press the button here and fire this off.
Alarm sequence initiated now.
Okay, so this thing is gonna turn itself on in about 40 seconds. Pretty nifty little device, because one of these is enough to protect you, so you know if somebody's going into your vacation home, your room, anything you want to protect, and you can actually physically know and get an alert on your device.
Alarm is active now. Alarm. Police alert.
Okay, so that's how it works. Just by motion. So Flappy Nut says I'm not a black belt. No, you're missing the point. It's called disinformation. That's part of the technique. Okay. Yes, I'm all over the internet. It's a radar sensor. I am Dave. It's not a. It's a radar sensor. It actually detects you by radar. So yeah, in fact, many people use my face on their profiles on the internet, and that's awesome. It's called disinformation. So yeah, you look at my face, you come up with different people. You look at my name, and you see all of my talks here. So that's the goal. So try to find a really old phone of Rob. I bet you can't do it. Can you recommend some reading materials? Just watch my videos. If you want some reading, you can go to whatthezuck.net. Hello, Elkey in Arizona. Whatthezuck.net. It's on my video link on the bottom. Whatthezuck.net, and it is in. Thank you, Lucky in AZ. Still no anti-stingray box. Yeah, Stingray requires a spectrum analyzer. Read the Bible. Why don't you work for ZocBook? Why don't I work for ZocBook? Because ZocBook will know I live in Mace Landing, New Jersey. So yeah, so we don't I don't need big bucks to live. I just Jay here wants big bucks to live, but I'd rather have a way of making a living that's morally right. So Zuck is being made to a billionaire in an immoral way, and I don't want to have anything to do with that. My morality is such that let me just do it in a moral way, and that is to protect you. I can't make much money doing what I do. I'm trying to make a living off selling these little products, and it's not much. Okay, not much. Yeah, I have a nice BB gun right here. My nice BB gun, yes. The green screen is affecting it though. Yep. Nice BB gun right there. Yeah, don't get PIA. Use Bytes VPN. I have a video on that explaining why you shouldn't get PIA. PIA is not a good choice right now. Neither is NordVPN. So if you want to, if you think you're going to do well with those products, then you will be tricked. And then they'll do auto deduct every year, so that even when you want to leave, you can't leave. BB guns are illegal in New Jersey. If you want big bucks, go for it and see how fun it truly is. I already, I invented electronic health records. At one point I had the big bucks. So I already went through that. So that's one of them. That invisible guns. What? Yes. Do you like my invisible gun? So I think they carry a misdemeanor charge in New Jersey to carry a. Well, why would you take a BB gun outside of your house? You should be charged. Go full gangsta. There's kelp. I haven't even owned a BB gun. Well, that's not my problem, Ex Queen. Yes, this is being broadcast on Twitch right now, but I'm not reading comments on Twitch. So I'm not doing any kind of promotion on Twitch. So there's some people who go on Twitch. So NordVPN is the Walmart of VPN service. NordVPN boasts that their VPNs are all out of the US. Why would you boast about that? That's not a good thing. So I boast that all of my VPNs are in the US. Yeah, NordVPN is boasting that they are out of the US, all of them, and then they're saying, oh, we have high-speed VPNs. Well, how can they be high-speed if they're in a different country? So they're never high-speed. They're all slow. So NordVPN, if you go watch a video from Tom Sparks, who studies VPNs, his channels are all about VPNs, and he's always making a comment about NordVPN and PIA. So yeah, so I made my own VPN in response to the bad VPN. So I don't need I'm on three, but really the primary one is YouTube. Johnny boy. Beer can line up and it's an afternoon. Everyone is a good guy in here. Join this amazing and helpful channel. Yes, and many of you are going to my other platform, which is Brax.me, and they're going because you're finding me on YouTube and saying you want to talk some more with the folks, and you can go to Brax.me. Which VPN is best? Come on, it's already. Do you have to ask that question right there? Don't talk to me about other VPNs. There's a VPN to use. It also has the option for a VPN router. Okay, so this all come together. This can come pre-configured already with Bytes VPN, so you don't have to think about it. VPN routers are super awesome because you don't have to think about it. You just plug them in and then connect all of your devices to it. There's no setup. Okay, no setup. VPN routers are on rob.brax.me. How much you gotta have for that one? This is $159 for the router, and then there's a subscription for the VPN. If you want, I'll give you another choice. If you don't want to pay that money for a router, you can buy routers from flashrouters.com, and you can get a router from there from around $300 to $600. Yes, it works with phones. That's the whole point. There's nothing to do. You just plug this in, and your phones and everything works already. Okay. So if you want to get a fancier router, go to flashrouters.com. Same thing as this. $300 to $600. Okay. So hopefully you're going to realize that I'm giving you a good deal, because there's very little margin in here. There's a computer inside this, which they raised the price on. They raised the price on the computer inside. It used to be cheaper, now it's not. So, have you done complete overviews of your products? No, just partial here and there. Flappy nuts, because my product includes my platform, which is Brax.me, and Brax.me also has its own store. But what I'm selling here on these are on my own name, not under the Brax.me name. Okay, a lot of people have bought my products already. A lot of people have bought this. I've been selling different versions of this in the past. This used to be a Tor router. Now this is a VPN and Tor router, all for the same price. So this is expanded in capability and in power, and for pretty much the same price. And you can keep it for many, many, many years because it doesn't really have to be updated. Okay, what do you think about Pi-hole? Automatic. This has automatic. My VPN has automatic ad blocking, so you don't have to worry about Pi-hole. It's already done for you. Okay, so everything, the VPN has ad blocking, so all that is already done for you. You don't have to be worried, because how do you do Pi-hole? You have to go set that up, and you don't have to do any of that. It's all done. It's all included. Okay, Pi-hole's pretty cool, but you don't have to worry about that. Everything is part of this. I want one of them new routers. I like the colors. You give me a trade-in on my old one. I can't. I don't have any value anymore for a 3B Raspberry Pi, but you can. The 3B the 3B it only cost like $35 back in the day. Still is, still $35. So come on, Sponge, you can afford. So this one is a VPN and Tor router versus the old products. Sponge were only Tor routers. So this is much more capable. Pi-hole setup is less than 5 minutes. Use Russ. There's no need to do Pi-hole setup. Are you saying I'm gonna get a server and do? You don't need to do all that's included. Do you take jewelry? I take Amazon gift cards. Uh, 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 well, if they want to order it for me, they can. So your router is like chunky soup. What the fuck does that mean? How will your products cloak internet presence from state-sponsored spooks? Uh, your phones cannot be cloaked from state-sponsored spooks. Don't use a phone. Okay. Uh, Snowden doesn't use a phone. However, you can use Tor. These products can use the Tor mode of this if you're trying to avoid state-sponsored spooks, because Tor, even Snowden uses Tor. In fact, he uses a Tor router. He said so. It's in his book. He made his own Tor server. So Snowden did the same thing. So he obviously did the same thing I do. Okay, so if you want to be safe from three-letter agencies, that's pretty hard. One of them is never get a phone. Never. Not even a burner phone. Nothing. And you got to have, pretty locked down computers and procedures and everything. So, I'm pretty locked down. I have some procedures that I'm sharing with you in little bits in my videos. And just imagine that everything in my video I do. Okay, everything in my videos I do. Can you imagine how, I told you how I set up my computers. I always reinstall my computers on a regular basis. I don't have any important things on the computer. So if there's a virus, I always can wipe them out. And I always assume there is a virus, even though I've never found any. But you have to assume that, and you behave like there's one. And I don't put antivirus in here because that's one way they come in. So if you want three-letter agencies will use antivirus to come in. So Zach, no antivirus for me. Just follow procedures on how to have a non-admin account when you use your computer. Not even a Librem 5 with kill switches engage. No. Because when you unengage, you got to use the phone at some point, right? So when you unengage them, it's a temporary respite from the three-letter agencies. Once you turn on the switch, you're found, and then switch off. So, it can temporarily give you a little bit of that, but it's temporary. So that's in Canada we have 4-letter agencies. Yes, 3-letter agencies are on here, and then we have the 5 eyes. The 5 eyes. Now the 5 eyes want to be better than 3-letter agencies. That's what Brax does for us. Yes, that's what virus protection do you have or recommend? None, Johnny boy. I use the standard one on my Windows called Windows Defender, which comes with it. And on Linux, nothing. I do not use any kind of antivirus. Do not. There is no antivirus whatsoever in my Linux computer. There is no antivirus in my Mac. I don't need any of that. I just follow procedures to make sure that I don't get any viruses. Viruses can only come in certain ways. I don't even use email most of the time. I hardly even open email, which is one of the top ways of it to get to you. So, is OpenVPN good? Russ, every VPN is OpenVPN. What are you talking about? All VPNs sold to you are following the OpenVPN standard. Everything is OpenVPN. The only alternative to OpenVPN is Microsoft's old protocols for like PPTP and all this old stuff. They're really bad. So OpenVPN is the most secure standard, and every VPN now uses the same one. Every VPN uses the same software. We all use OpenVPN, so don't be fooled. It's not about the software itself behaves all the same. What you need to do is how the infrastructure. Nowadays, you take one server, you get half the internet ads. Nowadays, you take one server and you get half the internet ads in your mailbox. I don't know what that means. So what did I miss here? Don't RBR. Don't type any four-letter agencies in here as well. So yeah, we don't want four-letter agencies or three-letter agencies in our comments. I don't have any blocking for four-letter agencies. Internet is changing fast. Come on, we're way beyond that now. The internet was designed to be completely different than what it is now. The internet is completely different. I mean, it started out as a way for people to feel free by posting anything on the internet. It is not that anymore. It's centralized and controlled in a centralized way, and it's crazy now. It's turned into something we have to actively fight against. Protecting yourself on the internet is not a small matter. That's why I can't give you a quick answer. People say, "How do I protect myself? Tell me the number one thing I got to do." And then I got to okay, well, the number one thing you got to do is have a VPN. I mean, without a VPN, there's nothing much you can do. There's no your IP address. You can use a fake name, but if your IP address is not hidden, then they can match your old name to the new name. So it's pointless. So number one thing to do is have a VPN. I shouldn't have to say that. I mean, this group here should know what a VPN is. No one in their right mind should go to the internet without a VPN. Now, okay, if you're on the road and are using cell data, you're not as subject to the same dangers as when you're at home. So it's really your home that has to be protected by a VPN. If you're on the road and you say, "Well, I forgot to turn on my VPN when I was on the road," well, you're better protected with a VPN because, of course, hackers and things can come at you when you're using shared networks. But it's nowhere near the kind of risk that is in your home. If you're at home and you're using your Wi-Fi at home, that has to be protected with a VPN, and better yet, protected with a VPN router. And the reason for the router is because if you have a stack of phones like me, if you have a stack of phones like this, how the hell are you going to install software on all the computers and all the phones of everyone in the family? So every person may have multiple devices. How the heck are you going to supervise loading a VPN on that? You're not going to be able to do it. You're not going to be able to do it. So this is this quick solution. You put this on, there's no setup. This basically solves all of the setup for all the devices. For the price of this is worth more than worth your time, because VPNs and VPN products are not that expensive. It's too damn late. We're Zuck. No, we're not. The T-Mobile guy turned mine off the other day and said, "You don't need that." I said, "Get the Zuck out, nerdy gal, slap him up." Tell John Leger that he said that. I don't know if John Leger cares about VPNs. He's not here today, but he comes in here all the time. So maybe he'll hear me and come in here and see the comment and say, "Oh, somebody from T-Mobile turned off the VPN? Zuck." Okay, you cannot plug into a VPN because these don't have plugs. Phones don't have a way to plug in. So this is why you have to use a Wi-Fi router. Get your hands off my damn phone. That's funny. That's funny. Do you believe in RFID microchipping people? Yes, Ross, I believe in that. Come on, Ross. Do you need to ask me that? Good Chinese VPN available? Yeah, use Opera. Opera browser, that'll give you a honeypot VPN. Don't use anything free, people. Those free stuff is those are worse because they're honeypots. Don't use anything free. It's crazy. The prince himself with them. What? How practical would it be to operate with your VPNs and also a subscription VPN, let's say from Norton? I'm not going to set it up for you though. You'll have to figure it out yourself. So, is it really worth that? So, what's the price difference? Chances are the price is the same. So why would you even bother? So my VPN costs $89 a year. I mean, most VPNs are in, roughly the same area, plus or minus $5. So that really worth the effort? You want to spend the time to go set it up? Yes, you can set this up to use some other VPN, but I'm not going to do it. I mean, it's tedious work. I set it up automatically. I have, for my time to do it, it would be worth it for you just to just buy my VPN. So yeah, it's you can do it, but it's not worth it. Smartphone is different. You can get rid of it. With a smartphone, you're chipped already. Yes, Fear Lutzi, that is correct. Helvetican, hello Helvetican, welcome back. There are 2 chips on my shoulders. Okay, so what did I miss here? If your phones are encrypted, if your phone's encrypted, don't seem like you'd need a phone VPN. What does that mean? I'm Dave. Do you understand what you're talking about? Do you understand what you're talking about? How does your phone being encrypted affect your VPN? What is a transmission encryption? What is a device encryption? How are the two related? If your data goes out unencrypted, what does that have to do with the encryption on the device? Nothing. Meaning that's not a sensible statement, Dave. Make some sense here. Okay, I'm trying to give you realistic tips, and if you don't understand, I'm going to try to teach you. But I'm going to try to explain it to you. Somebody actually found my videos, and was talking to me on Brax, and she was saying, what do I need to protect myself? And I said, first thing you need is a VPN. And then the person said, what's a VPN? Well, that's kind of number one. I mean, there's almost nothing you can protect against if you don't have a VPN. So, kind of like a baseline. It's like the minimum. It doesn't protect you. It's not enough to protect. It's not enough protection to have a VPN, but it's like being a policeman without a gun. It's kind of like, basic thing, Well, I guess they don't have guns. Police don't have guns in the UK. Okay, basically without anything. So each one has a different role, each part, and they all contribute. And there's some baseline things that you need, and one of them is a VPN. A VPN is a first line protection. And think of a VPN as the first protection is a mask. So the VPN is a mask, but that's not enough. If you have a mask on, which is the VPN, and then you put your name on your shirt, then the mask doesn't help. Okay, so VPN is the mask, but you have to do other things with the rest of your body. Why you wear a T-shirt with your name on it? Okay, and on and on and on. So you have to think that it's not a one solution thing. It's everything, but the VPN is just to cover your face. Okay, So point number one, cover your face, and then we work with covering your shirt, covering your arms, and then later on, and this is the interesting part, is changing your face. So once you've covered your face, right, we can put a new face on there, and that's, that's how sophisticated you can get. You want to get to the phase where you can cover and replace your face. Okay, so that's what this whole privacy thing is about. In order to battle this, you have to be aware that they're tracking us in so many different directions, and so the VPN is just step one, and step two is to do other things. Okay. Shirt with name is funny. Well, I'm just saying. People say I have a VPN, but I go around with my real name on the internet. Well, you got to know when to use your real name and when not. And if you don't, then it's kind of pointless. Everyone has too much power. So all these big companies, they've become big employers, and on and on. And every young kid says, "Oh, I want to work for Amazon, for Apple, for Google, because I want to make big bucks, and I want to live in Silicon Valley and live this life." That the millennial dream is to work for these big companies and work for a tech company, and somehow everything will be all set. And it doesn't work like that, and there's a lot of dangers with these companies. And as with anything big, once something gets too big, then it's a power grab thing. Okay, so anyway, so I'm gonna continue tomorrow. We'll talk tomorrow about how to use these products and things to. I want to talk about that guy that said, I'm going to change my setup, my life. I want to disappear from the grid, and the kind of philosophical move that he made and bought all these things. And no, Johnny boy, I'm not. Watch my videos and watch my antivirus videos. No. How come I don't get any viruses? And yet I don't have an antivirus. How come I don't get an antivirus? I mean, I don't get any viruses. So, and even if I think I don't have a virus, I still assume that I got one. So I always erase. Okay, did YouTube crash? I don't know. Thank you, Lucky in Arizona. Hello, John. Okay, so what did you say here? Try to find a girl in Silicon Valley. Okay, let's not get demonetized here, so we're not gonna post that. I read it, but I'm not gonna go post that. How much does an apartment cost in or near Silicon Valley? Heard techies living in a van. It's kind of like here. I'm in an area called Silicon Beach, which is kind of the same thing as Silicon Valley, and all the tech companies here. The average apartment here is $4,000 a month. Okay, now how many young kids graduate from college saying, "Oh, I can afford an apartment in Silicon Beach. It's $4,000 a month." Yeah. So no, they're coming all over here, nerdy gal. That's why it's Silicon Beach. So all tech companies here, Snapchat, Uber, this, that. You live in San Francisco. So yeah, so I'm in, my area here is, Google, YouTube, is nearby. And, Yahoo and Facebook and everyone's here. Snapchat, Uber. They're all here. Okay, so yeah, so this whole area here is feeling it too from the number of homeless people and the number of motorhomes illegally parked, because people are just saying, I'm not going to go pay $4,000 for an apartment. I'm going to live in a motorhome and park illegally. So they do. So there's a lot of illegally parked. Am I doing okay? 50 some bill. Okay, that's the Google bus drive by. The Google bus drive by your place. No, John, I've never seen a Google bus. There's no Google bus that I've seen. It's a YouTube location. So is it a YouTube bus? I'm actually not invited yet to go to YouTube. I have to have 10K subscribers before I'm invited to the YouTube headquarters. So get me to 10K and then we'll check out. Maybe I'll do a video and say, what the zuck is in this YouTube, building here? It's huge. They took the huge aircraft building, a huge giant hangar. They used to do all the filming of, a big giant soundstage. Huge. It's big. And that's now the YouTube area. So, and YouTube people can use it. So I can use it if I have 10,000 subscribers. So I got to get to 10,000 subscribers, which will happen soon. Couple of months, we'll get to 3 months. We'll be at 10,000, and then we're gonna check out. We'll do a video and show you what the zuck is at YouTube headquarters, and we'll spy on them, right? So anyway, they're gonna make you sign the NDA. If you were recruited by Google, would you then use Google Apps? I use Google Apps. I have to, Johnny boy. I make Android apps, but I don't walk around out of the house with it anymore. I obviously use Google Apps. I have to make apps. I have Android apps in the App Store. I landed there as a kid. Private plan or private plane? Don't you think another earthquake is coming? There's always an earthquake. That's nothing new. High-tech homeless sleep in hot air balloons over Silicon Valley. Will you go to the Apple spaceship building? I'm not near Apple, John. That's Northern California. I'm in LA. We don't have any Apple place here. There's no Apple here. So maybe there's some small office of Apple that I'm not aware of, but at least as far as the big Apple, no. I sneeze 4.0. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, see it in my YouTube videos on antivirus. The big one, I'm ready. You know that. You know I'm ready. Nerdy Gal, I've already been on a, when I was young, was already in an 8. So, I've already seen, 8 is one of the worst earthquakes you can ever be in. And I've already been in an 8. So we will live. Okay, super fame username. You redacted the message. Now I don't see what you said. I saw it and I didn't look quick enough and now it's gone. Okay, so anyway, thanks guys, and we'll catch you tomorrow. I have a gig in the morning, so where are all those huge tunneling machines? Elon Musk made small tunneling machines. They're not huge. You're closer to Apple campus than me. Yes, it's 6 hours, 6 to 7 hours away, John. That's not that close. Could be a lightning. Why do you squeeze your nose all the time? Because, like this? Because I have an allergy. My goodness. Are you using OBS Streamlabs or regular OBS? Regular OBS. Thank you for luck. Good luck with the gig. Thank you. So yeah, I have to play in the morning. So anyway, coded messages. Okay, so we'll catch you tomorrow. and then talk about the you know, rethinking your life setup here. And again, I only have just 2 more of these, so if you want one, then get on it quickly, and then otherwise you have to wait till next week before I get them. Okay, so thank you for watching, my friends, and sorry for the delay getting the broadcast up. It was kind of a problematic thing here with YouTube, and I had to do something completely different here. I hope it works tomorrow. Okay, thank you, my friends. Good night.